Kids these days learn about emotions from Inside Out and Inside Out 2. Meanwhile, we learned about life's hard truths from Bambi's mom getting shot and Simba watching his dad die. Mufasa. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Dr. Mona, a pediatrician and mom, and today we're diving into the 5 important lessons from Inside Out 2. Make sure you watch the movie before diving into this important video. Let's get to it. Inside Out and Inside Out 2 are total game changers for kids and families, teaching us that all emotions, joy, sadness, anger, fear, are important and totally normal. These movies break down emotional intelligence, helping kids understand their feelings and giving parents a medium to have real, open conversations about mental health. With Inside Out, we learn that it's okay to feel sad sometimes. And in Inside Out 2, we dive into the roller coaster of adolescence, making these films a must-watch for every family navigating life's emotional ups and downs. And let's be honest, the message is far more important than the message that in order for the guy to fall in love with you, you shouldn't speak. I'm looking at you, Little Mermaid. Besides the lessons from the movie, which we'll dive into, the wit of the writing and animation was stellar. Like when the emotions are looking out into Riley's island and her friendship island has overtaken Family Island. Adolescents care more about their friends than family at this developmental stage because they're in the process of becoming their own person. As teens push for independence, friends become their support system for figuring out who they are, what they like, and how to fit in. Peer approval feels super important, and let's face it, friends just get it in ways parents sometimes don't. So the more you know that this is developmentally normal, the more you can learn not to fight it and embrace it instead. Or my other favorite part, the chasm that occurs when Riley is having a sarcastic moment as the emotions are riding down the stream of consciousness. Sarcasm can disrupt the stream of consciousness because it creates a disconnect between the literal and intended meaning of words. This can cause confusion or cognitive dissonance, particularly for those who are not immediately able to interpret the underlying tone, which is why it was so funny for this visual representation. Sarcasm can sometimes create emotional distance or cause the listener to misinterpret the speaker's feelings. In a stream of consciousness where thoughts are closely linked to emotions, this gap can cause an emotional rift, breaking the natural continuity of ideas, hence why there's that earthquake when Riley is being sarcastic with the girls at the camp. Now let's dive into the top 5 lessons from the movie. Accepting new emotions as part of growth. As Riley's new emotions like anxiety and envy emerge, the film teaches that growing up means experiencing a wider range of feelings. Emotions like anxiety, envy, and embarrassment are front and center because they're key to navigating adolescence. Anxiety helps teens handle growing pressures, while envy shows them where they feel insecure or want to improve. Ennui or deep boredom pushes them to explore new interests. It can inspire curiosity, creativity, and self-reflection, encouraging teens to try new activities, discover new interests, or question their world. Embarrassment is an important emotion during adolescence because it helps teens navigate social dynamics and develop self-awareness. These emotions may be tough to deal with, but they each play an important role just like our original emotions: anger, disgust, joy, fear, and sadness. And the key is that they all need balance and shouldn't be shamed or suppressed in order for us to learn how to navigate them. Riley's journey to puberty was also an incredible focus. I love this because we can often label our teens as so sensitive, but hear me out. Puberty triggers significant increases in hormones such as estrogen and testosterone, which affect the body and brain. These hormones influence mood-regulating neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine, making teenagers more susceptible to mood swings, heightened emotional responses, and intense feelings. Studies show that hormonal fluctuations can lead to feelings of irritability, sadness, or excitement, depending on the individual's unique physiology. During puberty, the brain undergoes substantial changes, particularly in the prefrontal cortex and the limbic system. The limbic system is responsible for emotional responses, develops more rapidly than the prefrontal cortex, which handles reasoning and impulse control. This maturity gap can make emotions feel more overwhelming, as teens don't yet have the fully developed cognitive tools to manage them as adults would. Understanding this again helps us navigate this as parents, where we don't make excuses for behavior, but similar to a toddler, we understand and see them for their emotions before setting boundaries. Anxiety seemingly gets a bad rap in the movie as the bad guy, but it's important to remember that anxiety, when managed, serves a very healthy purpose. For example, anxiety takes center stage during a critical hockey game, showing how it can motivate action. It motivates Riley to work harder. Rather than dismissing anxiety as purely negative, parents can discuss its usefulness while helping kids manage overwhelming anxiety with calming techniques. Anxiety becomes a dominant emotion for Riley, showing kids and parents that it's a common reaction to new challenges. The film highlights that while anxiety can motivate preparation, unchecked anxiety can paralyze. As a parent, you can use this portrayal to help kids recognize anxiety, use calming techniques, and take manageable steps toward their goals, promoting resilience and self-awareness. Anxiety, when unchecked, can also cause us to act in ways we wouldn't normally act. And as someone who has anxiety, I can relate to this. Anxiety says, let's change everything about you. When we're anxious, our brain triggers a fight or flight response, releasing stress hormones that cloud our judgment. Anxiety can also skew our perception, making us overestimate risks or interpret neutral situations as threats. The amygdala, which is a center for fear, takes control, and the prefrontal cortex, our logical brain, steps back, making us respond impulsively. Often we act out of a need for immediate relief, even if it's not our usual behavior. Understanding this helps us manage anxiety's impact and respond more calmly when it strikes. Anxiety can hit even harder during puberty. Teen brains are still developing with an overactive amygdala, the emotion center, combined with an underdeveloped prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for impulse control. Add in intense sensitivity to social judgment, and teens can feel anxious reactions even more strongly. This mix often leads to impulsive choices and behaviors they may not usually make, as they're trying to manage overwhelming feelings and also fit in. Another poignant scene is when Riley is having trouble sleeping due to anxious thoughts before her scrimmage. The scene where anxiety spirals into worst-case scenarios teaches a valuable approach to managing anxious thoughts. As Riley's anxiety intensifies over her tryout results, Joy steps in, encouraging the other emotions to think of positive thoughts as well as the rest of the control room. This reframing is huge, and for anyone who has anxiety, you know it's a healthy coping skill to focus on gratitude and reframing. By acknowledging anxiety rather than dismissing it, the film demonstrates a balanced approach, caring for anxious feelings and understanding its use and function while staying present, allowing positive thoughts like joy and gratitude to help recenter and ground us. A useful reminder for anyone, including myself, managing restless thoughts. When you look at Inside Out and Inside Out 2, one of the biggest messages is understanding the importance of all emotions and the balance. In Inside Out, Joy realizes that sadness is sometimes needed more than joy and allows young Riley to have a healthy relationship with her emotions when joy is not always in charge. In Inside Out 2, anxiety and the panic attack scene show when one healthy, functional emotion like anxiety can become out of control. There's a moment when joy and anxiety have to work together, and joy has to bring anxiety out of the driver's seat, just like she had to learn from sadness in the first movie. It's a beautiful way to show how our feelings, even the tough ones, are part of the whole picture of who we are. The panic attack scene was very relatable to me, and so many of you watching, especially if you have dealt with anxiety or have had a panic attack. The way Riley has an avalanche of difficult feelings in her brain at the moment of the panic attack shows how quickly these can come on and how anxiety can feel overwhelming, isolating, and even paralyzing. In the moment, anxiety itself is paralyzed, and that is a huge depiction on how this can feel. And she needed joy to bring her out of it. The way Joy says you don't get to choose who Riley is important for all emotions, including joy, to realize as well. As she herself for both movies has tried to control Riley to shield her from more difficult feelings like sadness, fear, or anxiety. And the way anxiety apologizes after shows exactly how anxiety, at its core, is a healthy emotion that protects us and drives us. But when it becomes unchecked without coping skills or even some joy, it can become paralyzing. She was only trying to protect her. That is what anxiety does. It wants us to feel protected, but sometimes it can get overwhelming. All emotions have a function, but even emotions like joy, when not balanced with other emotions, can do harm. As a parent, this was relatable because as parents, we want to sometimes shield our kids from disappointment, rejection, failure, or big feelings. But it is incredibly normal, and they have to feel these feelings in order to learn how to process it and work through it. Which leads me to the fourth lesson. No one emotion has to define you. When Joy realizes that she cannot control Riley and removes her positive-only belief system that has been created for Riley and allows Riley to create a blend of healthy feelings, and then they hug her, it's at this moment that she grounds herself during the panic attack. Accepting all feelings, including during a panic attack, can make a big difference by helping someone break out of that intense cycle of fear and dread. Instead of trying to push away the racing heart, dizziness, or other sensations which can actually make them worse, grounding and noticing senses and accepting the feelings one has can allow your body to start calming down naturally. And the way her emotions love her for all of her is how we should approach our kids as parents and those who work with kids. Teaching kids that all emotions are okay helps them build emotional intelligence and better coping skills because it shows them that feelings aren't something to be afraid of or ashamed of. When we tell kids that it's okay to feel sad, angry, or frustrated or anxious, we're letting them know that emotions are a normal part of life. Instead of feeling like they have to hide or fix how they feel, they learn to recognize and understand their emotions, which is the first step in knowing how to manage them. Imagine if every time your child was upset, they were told to just calm down or get over it. They might start thinking that certain feelings are bad or wrong, and they never learn what a feeling means to process it. But when we give them space to express those feelings, but then talk about what's behind them and how they can cope with them, they learn that emotions are signals about what's going on inside, or dare I say, from the inside out. This way they can face those feelings, use healthy coping skills, and develop self-awareness. It's like giving them a toolkit for life, one where they'll know how to handle the highs and lows instead of feeling controlled by them, a situation where they build resiliency through difficult times. Lastly, one of the biggest lessons, the importance of self-compassion and budding emotional intelligence. In Inside Out, the line, "Sadness, Riley needs you," captures a turning point in understanding emotions. Riley learns that sadness plays an essential role in processing difficult moments, connecting with others, and finding support when she's overwhelmed or sad. This highlights an early stage of emotional intelligence, recognizing that even negative emotions serve an important purpose. By allowing herself to feel sadness, Riley gains a deeper connection to her own needs and to the people around her. This is largely due to parents who accept her emotions at a young age in order to foster emotional intelligence as she grows. In Inside Out 2, however, the line shifts to joy. Riley wants you, which shows a new layer of emotional maturity. Instead of needing an emotion to solve a problem, Riley wants to bring joy into her life. This shift from need to want reflects her growing ability to choose her emotional responses. It's about balancing her emotions consciously rather than being controlled by them. Emotional intelligence is evolving here. Riley understands that she can experience sadness or stress while also choosing moments of joy to support her well-being. This growth shows that she's learning to both be aware of and intentional with her emotions, recognizing coping skills and blending acceptance with choice in a way that helps her navigate life more resiliently. All signs of incredible growing emotional intelligence. Please, can we get an Inside Out 3 to 10? Take her through high school, having a kid, a pandemic. I want to see what she goes through. I have never related to a movie more and absolutely love this entire series. The Inside Out movies beautifully show kids and remind parents that every emotion has a purpose. In the first film, Riley learns that allowing herself to feel sadness brings her closer to healing and connection. This helps kids understand that all feelings, even the more difficult ones, deserve space. In Inside Out 2, Riley shows emotional maturity by embracing all her emotions, understanding they coexist to shape who she is and her value system. Emotional intelligence is about accepting feelings without judgment and knowing when each emotion needs attention. These films teach that emotions are powerful, not burdens, and embracing them builds resilience and self-compassion. Helping kids accept all their feelings is one of the greatest gifts we can give. Thank you for joining me. If you love reaction videos like this, make sure to hit that subscribe button and that thumbs up sign, comment with other shows or movies you want me to discuss, and make sure to subscribe to this channel to stay up to date on all my future videos. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you all next time. Stay well.